We are talking to one of the biggest voices of music, of art, Suzi Quatro. Suzi, it's a pleasure for us to talking to you. Welcome to Rock Mania.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, although a little bit late.
No problem, dear. Let's start to talking about your new book, Grave Undertakings. What is this work about?
Well, it's an interesting story. I was one of those kind of people, and since doing all these interviews for the book, I have found out that there are many, many, many people out there who have the same fascination for graveyards. You know, you
Uh-huh.
go in and you walk around and you look at the tombstones, and
Uh-huh.
it just makes your imagination go. So I always said that as a child while growing up. Then in my 20s, I came up with this title, Grave Undertakings, and I went, oh. So then I started to collect tombstones for 35 years. That's what I thought. Grave Undertakings could be my fascination with graveyards. For 35 years, I collected famous people's epitaphs,
Oh.
what they want
Mhm.
on their tombstones. And then about a year and a half ago, I started to put, it's my seventh published book. I said, time to get this book out. It's been cooking for 35 years. You know, I think it's time to bring it out of the oven. So I sat there typing it up, and then I went, no, oh my God, no. This is a story.
Great.
So all the tombstones can go at the back, but now you need a novel, a fiction, a novel, but very true to life to go in the front. So I thought, what can I do? I am a psychologically based human being. I'm very interested in the workings of the human mind. Okay. So I
Hmm.
thought, okay, let's get six psychology students, have them meet at a tutorial with an Austrian professor, and you're taking through their lives. All their backstories, all their childhood demons, all their ups, their downs, ins and outs, relationships, boom, 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 boom. And then, after all this life was led with seven different people, including the professor, then you get the tombstones, 6 foot under, with a few words on a stone slab. And that to me just says it all.
A phrase in the promotion of your our book caught my attention. Please don't let me get to the end of my life and find out I haven't lived. This phrase says a lot to all of us, Susie.
You know what? A few people have mentioned that. You know what I mean. And that when I read that myself, that stayed in my psyche.
Mine too.
My don't let me get to the end of my life and find out I haven't lived. You know what that says? That just means don't get to tomorrow and say, "Oh, I wish I'd done that yesterday." No,
Hmm.
no, do it now. And
Now.
even things like talk about loved ones passing on. And let's, for instance, it just came to my mind. Let's say your mother's passed away. Mine has a long time ago. And everybody I talk to who has lost their mother, I'll say, do you know, if you could have one more day with your mom, what would you say? They always say the same thing. I love you.
Hmm.
The lesson is say it now. Don't wait. You got to live your life. That's what this book is all about. It takes you very deep. Everybody who's read it has either said to me the same sentence said in two different ways. A lot of people have said, boy, you really made me think. And other people have said, you really made me think. So they either had a positive or the negative way of saying that means you got work to do on yourself.
Hmm.
It brought up this book brought up issues in your psyche, which is what it should do, because it is a psychological journey through life, ending 6 foot under with a tombstone.
Do you have any other books released besides this one?
Oh God, yeah. This is my seventh published book.
Seven. Wow.
My first was my autobiography, Unzipped, which did very well. Then I made my first novel called The Hurricane,
Amazing.
about the music business. I used what I knew. I invented a character called Allison Hart. Then my third book was my first poetry book called Through My Eyes. I actually have it here. Just a minute, because I'm reading it now because I'm finishing. Beautiful book.
Whoa.
Coffee
Amazing.
table. Yeah, all the poems I've done my whole life. Second book was Through My Heart, my second poetry book. Then I did Through My Thoughts, which was COVID, lockdown. So I just went inside my brain and started to write.
Hmm.
Then through my words, which is my lyric book, and then this one, Grave Undertakings, and I'm just about to finish my third poetry, my eighth book called Through My Pain. So it's a
Whoa.
trilogy. Through my eyes, through my heart, through my pain. And that is life until you're finished.
What is the difference between writing for an album and writing for a book?
Well, you go through the same process of creation.
Uh-huh.
You have to get, well, when you're writing a song, you're lost in the music and a title. Very often, even with books, a title comes. If you're writing a song, I get a title and I go, "Ooh, oh, good title." And then you kind of know what kind of song it should be. Or one line, one very well said line, you go, "Now that's a good lyric line." So you get lost in that. When you're writing books, it's the same instinct, but you haven't got the music to go with it. So you have to create the music in your head while you're writing.
Mhm. Suzi, in Rock Mania, we have a time machine. Tell us about your beginning in music.
7 years old, I started to play the bongo drums. That was my first sort of, Dad, get me some bongo drums. I thought I wanted to be one of those hippies in a coffee shop playing my bongos and reciting poetry. And I ended up doing all of it. Anyway, I played in his trio. He used to let me come and play with them sometimes. Then I went to percussion. So I was first chair in the orchestra in school. So that means I won the test when they test you
Mhm.
for how good you are. And the boys didn't like it, but that's me. Um, I've stayed that way my whole life. And then I went to classical piano, which I read and write. I can play. I've got a very nice touch on piano. I can do Beethoven, Bach, whatever you want. Then we started a band, and everybody picked it, an all-girl band. Everybody picked an instrument. Nobody wanted the bass. So it was given to me, which is fine. And my dad was a musician all his life. There's five kids in the family, four girls, one boy, and we all play at least three instruments each. So it wasn't strange. I went to my dad and I said, "Dad, Patty and me are starting an all-girl band." He said, "Good." He didn't argue. And Dad, I'm going to play bass. Do you have one? He said, "Sure." And he gave me for my first bass. And I have seen musicians want to hit me when I tell them. You see them do that. They don't do it, but they would like to. My first bass that I got given to learn on, and I kept 1957 Fender Precision. It's the Rolls Royce of bass guitars.
Uh-huh. How does it feel to have, even today, songs that are true classics, songs that touch the heart of the people? What it means to you?
Well, all my life, I'm doing what I'm doing. I always knew I would go into the arts, although psychology called me. But I mean, I've acted, I've been radio for 15 years, I've done my own talk show. I've gigged now for 61 years, 55 million records sold, still releasing new material that is charting. In fact, I'm working on a new album right now, my next solo album. It feels like the feeling that I had very young was the correct feeling. I knew what I had to do with my life. I knew it. From 7 years old, doing our family shows and the room stopping to watch me,
Wow.
knowing I had something that made people watch. So you get it, even as a little girl. And then at 14, that first band standing on stage for the first time with my bass. And I said to myself, I said, "I'm home." That kind of says it all.
I can feel it.
Absolutely. It means a lot to me. I never run out of inspiration. I'm always writing new songs. Actually, at the end of my show, I do a 2 hour show now with an interval. So I take you on the journey, all the way through the journey. I play a little bit of drums. I do a song at the piano. I do an 8 minute bass solo, which is
Whoa.
it's very technically difficult. I challenge bass players to do it. It's not an easy solo. It's been years in development, and it's never boring. There's a lot of stuff in it, so you actually enjoy a bass solo for once. But at the end of the show, after I've done all the rock and roll and the hits and the album tracks and taking you on the journey, I will sit on a stool in the center stage with just the piano playing, and I sing Desperado by the Eagles, and every time a tear comes down.
Mhm.
And that is life, isn't it? It is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is there a moment now in this interview that comes to your mind that you consider, whoa, this moment was very important in my career? Any moment?
Many. Yeah,
Many.
many. I think, well, with the one, okay, now you just asked that, you threw that at me. So the one that just came to my mind was pretty recent, even though I've had lots of highs and lots of lows like you do. Um, I was in Hamburg playing a sold out venue, big venue. In fact, the first venue I ever played in Hamburg in 1973, Leitzhalle, it's called, big venue, a lot of people at my solo show. So everybody there paid only to see me, which is a nice feeling. And, the drums are pounding, bubble, 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 and I'm ready to go on the stage. So I walk out with my bass. I'm trying to start the first song, and the people went louder, 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 louder. I could not. My entertainer's instincts knew, don't start that song because you are stopping them from doing what they want to do. They wanted to give me this.
Mhm.
So I just waited. I just threw my arms up to the heavens and waited. And finally, I was able to start the song. It was an incredible moment. It lifted me up on such a feeling of love. It was incredible.
Do you see a lot of difference in the music trajectory from the 70s, 80s until today? A lot of technology. How do you see all of these changes?
I'm not so big on the technology. I'm not so big on the streams. I think you've taken away the human element in music a lot. I mean, artificial intelligence can reproduce stuff. I mean, come on, that's not right. Creation is a very special gift, and it comes from deep inside, and
Mhm.
it's a human thing. It is not a technology thing. It's just
Mhm.
not. So for me, I'm not so happy with it. But you can't change how the universe moves. But I mean, I'm not wrong because look at the move back to vinyl.
Mhm. True.
So there's
Mhm.
nothing there's nothing quite like organic music made by real people, played by real musicians, written by yourself. There's something to be said about that. That should be protected, I think.
Mm. What do you like to do when you are not involved with music, with books? Another thing that you like to do?
Um, well, I do keep fit. If I'm not doing my show, I'm rehearsing my show. I'm very much keep yourself up there.
Uh-huh.
I love movies. That's my relaxation. At the end of a night, I would take great pains to watch the right movie for the right mood. You have to really think
Mhm.
about it. What do I need to see tonight? You know?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, a lot of times I watch the same movie again and again because it gives me comfort. I read the same books again if it gives me comfort. So yeah, I guess that's my relaxation is watching a movie at night.
Hmm. I love it too. And Susie, in Rock Mania, we have a question in all the interviews. A funny question. If you could be part of any band in the history of music in an imaginary world, which band would be and why?
Hmm.
To sing,
Well,
to
well,
play, you decide.
yeah. Okay, what just came to mind was the band that Elvis used with James Burton, and I made it. He was my hero. I made a tribute single to him called "Singing with Angels." Okay, you can
Oh,
watch the video on YouTube, and I did it with James Burton, Elvis's guitar player, and the Jordanaires, his original backing vocal group.
wow.
And I have played with the TCB band. I've played with them, and I'm friends with all Elvis's people. So I would like to have been around that time when he started off, and I'd be on that stand-up bass on a chair because I can't reach it. But that would have been great. I would love to play in his band in those early days, that original rock and roll where it stems from. Oh, fantastic.
And another imaginary question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? A superpower.
Oh, that's a big one. Because I think because I believe that we all have superpowers anyway that we just ignore. Um, I would like to take away. I would like to make everybody be on one level. If I could make peace in this world, that we are all one race of people, we have one God. It doesn't matter what you call him, and nobody starves, and everybody helps everybody else. Like I would reinvent the Garden of Eden, without
Uh-huh.
without the poison apple. Well, that's why I was able to write this book, because I'm very psychologically minded. So if you ask me a question, I won't answer you surface. I will answer you deep down.
You talk in your presentation of the book about the pandemic times. In these moments, we see how fragile is life, and the mind is very
Yes.
important, my friend.
Yeah, yes, you absolutely said it. And when the pandemic was happening, I found myself going internal, and I wanted to, and well, I did a lot of social media. I did my base things. I told a joke. I did story just to keep contact with people. But I went deep inside. A lot of people went deep inside. And you find out, God, you really realize what the word lonely means.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody was lonely. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what you had to do during the pandemic, you'll like this one, to survive the pandemic, you had to shake hands with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Mm-hmm.
you got through it. Exactly. It's the only way, like that.
And your book comes to this idea.
Yes, it's all about getting through your life the best way you can,
Mm-hmm.
accepting who you are. Um, my big mantra in my life, and it's because it's six psychology students, 10 lessons. Okay. So it takes you all through the mind stuff and all that. But for me, it's just personally speaking, and it comes out in my book, the whole thing in this lifetime before you're 6 foot under with a few words on a stone is the journey is back to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the journey in life. Because as you're growing up, you put on another set of clothes, not a different face, another. Everybody hides. So the
Mm-hmm.
journey is back to you. And then you can rest in peace.
So deeply. I received it from Mike your book, and I counting the minutes to stop and read it. More now that I'm talking to you, I'm
Yes.
very excited to it.
Good. Good. And you should read, everybody. I had a guy who reviewed the book about 2 weeks ago.
Uh,
And he wrote me a week before the interview. He said, Dear Suzi, it was very nice. He said, Dear Suzi, I know I'm going to be interviewing you next week, but I have to tell you, I've read the book. And he said, I didn't see this coming. You knocked me sideways. He said, Where did you get your psychological understanding from? This book should be required reading for all human beings and all psychology students. Wow. Now
wow.
that's a compliment. Yeah, I went, whoa, okay, thank you.
Susie, what are your next steps to spread to the world your book, your music?
Well, I'm doing this year I'm working nonstop, big festivals all the time and solo shows. Then in October, I do my 41st Australian tour. Nuts.
Wow.
I know, that's crazy. Then next April, I'm doing 10 dates in the UK, going to Australia again. I deliver my third poetry book soon. I'm working on it now. My new album is being done now. I've just started recording it. That will be out probably early next year. So I've got a lot to do before I'm 6 foot under. I've got a lot to do.
You are so young in your attitudes, in your way of life. It's contagious.
Well, I've always been that way. My deal is to never ever have a goal as such, because what happens when you reach it?
Mm-hmm.
Always have your eye on the one beyond that. One be just out of reach, just out of reach. And that keeps me going.
We can do it 3 times.
So
Whoa.
you get me. That's nice. So we connected. You understand me. That's good.
One day you wish to come to Brazil?
Yes, I would love to. Oh my God, I would love to. I would love to come there. Somebody needs to book me.
Any time in Brazil in the past?
No, it's one of the few places I haven't been to. So if you know any people that want me for a festival or something, get in touch. I'd love to come there. I would love it.
It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for your inspiration, for your art, your music, your books, and thank you so much for this interview. It touched my heart.
Well, that's the whole point. So that computes my cycle. If I touched you, happy. Read the book. Read the book, and I'll talk again to you next time.
For sure.
Okay.